A few months after adopting a big-eared cat found in a dark alley, the woman finally received a shocking revelation from the veterinarian, leaving her completely surprised. As Lourdes, an advertising copywriter, headed home on yet another ordinary day, something made her stop in her tracks. A sharp meow echoed through the dark alley she had just crossed. This wasn't an ordinary meow, it sounded like a cry of distress. Being a true animal lover, Lourdes felt compelled to investigate the source of that sound. Lourdes began rummaging behind the trash cans but couldn't find the kitten. The meowing continued echoing, leading her further into the dark alley. Until she reached the entrance to the back of an abandoned building, the crying seemed to grow louder as she approached the door, but the kitten was still out of sight. Gathering courage, Lourdes entered the alley. Although she had faced similar situations countless times before, rescuing stray animals in dire conditions, something about this occasion seemed unique. There was a distinct feeling in the air as she followed the sound of the meow. Inside the alley, Lourdes' thoughts wandered through her mind. Although her 2 dogs kept her company, a constant feeling of loneliness persisted within her. At 35, Lourdes had not yet formed a family. After rescuing her 2 dogs, who were like children to her, Lourdes had decided to prioritize social interactions with other people rather than getting involved in more stray animal rescues. Yet here she was again, heading towards the unknown of the dark alley. Who am I kidding? Mothers and wives don't usually venture into dark alleys to save needy kittens, she reflected quietly. The sound seemed to come from the right corner of the dark place. Directing the light from her phone in that direction, she discovered an electrical box attached to the wall. Without hesitation, she approached to investigate. Peering into the box, she found the source of the distressing meow, a trembling and scared kitten, entangled in a web of electrical wires. Upon closer inspection, she noticed something peculiar. Despite its small body, the kitten's ears were enormous, very much resembling bat wings. Recognizing the urgency to get him out of that box, Lourdes saw that it could be risky to try to rescue him alone and decided to ask for help by calling emergency services. She explained the situation of the trapped kitten and was informed that the fire department was on its way. While anxiously awaiting the rescue team's arrival, Lourdes approached the electrical box, murmuring comforting words in hopes of calming the frightened animal. When she finally heard the fire truck siren approaching, a sigh of relief escaped her lips. Respectfully, she stepped back to give space to the firefighters, while she watched with a heavy heart. In a few minutes, the kitten was freed, and one of the firefighters, with a kind smile, informed Lourdes that it was a boy, carefully handing him over to her arms, while the firefighters exchanged some jokes about the kitten's peculiar ears. That unique characteristic made Lourdes fall in love with the animal. When one of the firefighters asked if she would like to keep him, Lourdes hesitated for a moment. Normally, she would follow the usual protocol and take the cat directly to a shelter. However, something touched her heart. Determined not to leave the little feline helpless, Lourdes looked at the firefighter and said, "You know, I think I'll keep him." After gathering some information from Lourdes, the firefighters left, and she continued walking home with her new companion. At first, she felt satisfied with her decision, but soon panicked as she realized she hadn't thought about the consequences. Now she would face 2 important challenges in caring for the kitten. The kitten seemed to be about a week old, and knowing that the kitten needs 6 to 8 weeks of maternal milk, Lourdes understood that the responsibility to feed him would fall on her shoulders. Alongside this commitment, Lourdes was about to achieve a professional promotion, an achievement aimed at the successful completion of a large-scale project she was immersed in. However, The prospect of feeding the cat every 3 to 4 hours presented an additional challenge for the advertising copywriter. However, this was just one of her challenges. The second one was her dogs. With 2 beagles at home, Lourdes was concerned about their reaction to the presence of the kitten. The journey back home was extremely stressful, with Lourdes feeling the overwhelming weight of the responsibilities she was taking on. Upon reaching the front door, she noticed that there were no animal shelters open at that hour. Frantically, she rushed to the bedroom where the cat would be safe and closed the door. The next day, Lourdes left the kitten in the room and went to the pet store to get what was needed to care for the little feline. She planned to set up a bed in her room for the kitten to stay away from the dogs until he grew up, preventing the kitten from getting hurt. Upon returning from the pet store, Lourdes noticed the absence of the dogs, who usually awaited her arrival. Her heart raced with concern at the thought that they might have entered her room. Hastily climbing the stairs, she was shocked to encounter a surprising scene. The 2 dogs had indeed entered her room but were peacefully lying on the bed, with a small kitten between them. Their warm bodies were comforting to the little cat. A mixture of relief and surprise washed over her as she realized that the dogs, instead of posing a threat, acted protectively towards the new family member. With one problem solved, Lourdes descended the stairs to prepare the first meal for the feline. While in the kitchen, a slight noise from the living room surprised her. Upon reaching there, she had a delightful surprise. One of the dogs carried the kitten by the scruff, agilely like a mother cat. Lourdes picked up the kitten, sat down, and fed him for the first time. She named him Will, in honor of the actor Will Smith. Due to the distinct ears, determined to learn more about the mysterious breed of Little Will, Lourdes sat in front of the computer and delved into online research. Quickly, she found Will as an Oriental cat, a breed known for its rarity and high cost. This revelation only fueled Lourdes' curiosity, leaving her questioning Will's origin and what might have happened to his mother. In the following days, Lourdes dedicated her free time to caring for the kitten. Although it was stressful to balance caring for him with the tight deadline of a major project, with careful planning and some personal sacrifices, Lourdes managed to strengthen the kitten and successfully complete the project. As the days went by, Lourdes watched in amazement at her new pet's behavior. Will, the big-eared kitten, seemed to follow the dogs around the house, showing an insatiable curiosity towards them. At night, when the dogs prepared to sleep, Will snuggled up to them, creating a united and comforting group. This dynamic not only warmed Lourdes' heart but also put her at ease. She no longer felt the pressure to start a family. These 3 animals were all she wanted, and she found happiness in this special bond. Impressed by the extraordinary bond between her pets, Lourdes decided to create a page dedicated to the 3 on social media. The page quickly became a success, gaining more followers every day. As Will grew, his desire to integrate into the dog's family dynamic became more evident. Whenever Lourdes prepared to go out and take the dogs for a walk, Will's loud meow echoed through the house, clearly expressing his desire to join them in their daily activities. Observing this behavior, Lourdes got the idea to take him along with the dogs on their daily walks. Their first walk together was amazing, and Will was delighted with all the new outdoor sensations. Despite the curious glances from neighbors, Lourdes didn't mind, as Will and the dogs showed contagious joy together. During one of their walks in the park, a stranger approached the group, catching the dog's attention, who immediately demonstrated their instinct by barking in his direction. "What a unique cat you have there," the man remarked. Lourdes felt uncomfortable with the stranger's approach. Intrigued by Will, the man began asking a series of questions, leaving Lourdes even more bewildered. He wanted to know Will's origin and if she had several cats of the same breed. He even went so far as to suggest that Lourdes sell Will, a proposal she easily ignored, choosing to proceed with the walk without sharing any more information. When she arrived home that night, Lourdes left the windows open, allowing the air to enter the room. Shortly after, however, the scene became disturbing. Prompted by curiosity, Will tried to open the screen to explore the outside on his own. The dogs barked frantically, drawing Lourdes' attention as she descended the stairs to investigate. Upon finding Will scratching the screen and the dogs barking towards the window, Lourdes picked up Will and, upon closing the window, saw a strange figure in the backyard. Instinctively, she closed the curtains, hoping the person would leave, feeling surprisingly grateful for the protection offered to the dogs. Despite the initial shock, as the days passed, Lourdes put the incident behind her. Will had been living with Lourdes for 3 months, and everything seemed to be going well until the day she took him for his first veterinary appointment. As the vet examined Will, he commented on the cat's enormous ears. Lourdes watched closely, noticing a worried expression on the vet's face. When the vet finally revealed what he had discovered, Lourdes was shocked. He asked Lourdes if she had determined the kitten's gender yet. She explained that the firefighter who handed her the cat had said it was a male. To Lourdes' surprise, the vet then declared, "Besides having a rare cat on your hands, you should know that the firefighter was wrong. Will is actually a female." This revelation caught Lourdes off guard. For months, she believed her new kitten was a male, and now she was faced with the reality of having a female kitten. Lourdes saw that Will was not an appropriate name for a female cat, so she decided to change it to Willie. When she arrived home, the little kitten immediately joined her canine siblings, creating a scene worthy of being photographed. Lourdes then shared the news with her online followers, revealing that Willie was not a boy as everyone had planned. The post was an instant success, receiving a flood of comments and likes, with people completely excited about the revelation of the kitten's true gender. As she meticulously documented every moment since bringing Willie home, one question persisted in her mind. How had such an expensive cat ended up in a dark alley? Curious to discover her origin, Lourdes decided to visit the firefighters who rescued Willie the next day. During the meeting with the firefighters, they shared good news about Willie's progress. And during a conversation, she took the opportunity to ask if there was any news about how the cat ended up trapped in the electrical box. The firefighters' revelations deeply surprised Lourdes. They shared that the day after rescuing Willie, they received another call about a similar kitten, also abandoned in the same alley. Taking the cat to the shelter, they found that it was the second Oriental cat found that week. But the curious thing was that a man had shown up on the same day, claiming to be the owner of the 2 cats. However, his lack of documentation raised suspicions among the staff, who had experience with illegal breeders. They suspected that the man had temporarily abandoned the cats to avoid authorities and would return later to retrieve them. However, when they returned, the cats had already been rescued. At that moment, Lourdes' eyes widened. "Do you have a picture of this man?" she said to the firefighter. He took out his phone and showed her a picture captured by the shelter's camera. It's him," exclaimed Lourdes. She told the firefighters about the incident in the park and the stranger she saw at her window. The firefighters promised to alert local animal authorities about the man. A week later, while watching the news, Lourdes learned that the man had been located and detained for his illegal breeding practices. In addition to not having a license, he also abused the animals. Lourdes stroked Willie's ears as she slept in her lap. Although taking care of her was a daunting task, Lourdes wouldn't trade this experience for anything. That little kitten had entered her life and filled a void in her heart. Lourdes would always cherish Willie's presence, and even without being married or having children, she felt that her family was complete. And if you enjoyed this story, click on the video appearing on your screen, subscribe to the channel, leave your like, and until the next video, enjoy the session, and may God bless you.